Hey guys, Simon Bryson here, and today I want to talk about the best apps to get into real estate investing or to start looking at real estate in the market. Now, by the way, just to clarify, guys, here, okay, this video is not a video about basically an app you can actually go ahead and download and start buying shares of real estate. That's not what this video is about, because usually those apps have liquidity issues where basically when you buy a share, it might be a problem to actually go ahead and sell. But if you want a video on the best apps to actually invest into real estate directly, comment down below and I'll get to work. But this video, it's all about tools that you actually need if you want to get into real estate and looking at real estate just to understand the entire market and how it actually works. Now, if you guys are new to my channel, guys, I post videos every single day, so make sure also subscribe and hit the bell so you're notified. On top of that, also dismantle the like button for the YouTube algorithm. Now, the very first apps are apps that are all basically just about looking at real estate, okay? What is this house going for? What about condos, townhomes, okay? All those properties, which one is best? What about the area, the schools, the crime? What about flooding? Basically just apps to go ahead and look at real estate. Now, by the way, you might say, Tommy, okay, I'm watching this video, but I'm pretty sure I don't qualify for a home, or I'm not even in the market right now, or I don't even want to buy a house right now. The answer is, that's fine. Before I started investing, for example, into the stock markets, I spent hours every single day looking at stocks, ETFs, and also mutual funds, trying to understand exactly how everything works, and also reading a ton of books. That way, I become more knowledgeable about everything. The same thing with the real estate market. Although I'm not buying a property just yet, I like understanding everything, reading books, taking courses. That way, when I buy a property, I'm not guessing or basically saying, hey, I think this property is cute, so I'm going to go ahead and spend 200K or 300K on this property. The answer is no. And if you live in New York, basically, or California, you want to make sure you know exactly how real estate investing works. That way, when you start looking for real estate, you already know exactly what to look for. And by the way, you are going to look at a lot of deals before you go out there and actually make a deal. So now, the best apps out there right now when it comes to looking at real estate are basically Zillow, Redfin, and also Realtor. Now, honestly, guys, okay, there is this big fad going on, okay? Basically, if you like Zillow, you can't like Redfin. If you like Redfin, you can't like Zillow. If you like Realtor, you can't like anything else. The answer is, as an investor, it's not your job to build like brand loyalty. Your job is to look at deals. So your job is to just go out there and look at Zillow, Redfin, and also Realtor, and just look at all the apps and see exactly what's actually going on and what's actually being offered. Because sometimes a property might pop up somewhere first and you want to be there first, okay? So the answer is just look at all three. And by the way, Zillow, Redfin, and also Realtor are just apps to go ahead and look at real estate. And also with Redfin, you can actually go ahead and make offers. Now tell me, which one of these apps are actually your favorites? Now, I don't want to pick favorites, guys, but overall, I think by far Zillow is my favorite. But overall, I'm always looking at each website. That way I understand exactly overall what the market actually has. So I don't really pick favorites, but my favorite is basically Zillow. And by the way, guys, okay, Zillow is actually owned by Zillow Group, okay? And on top of that, Zillow, although the listings are free, actually made around $2.7 billion from advertising and also buying and flipping properties on their entire website. So the way Zillow makes money is through advertising and also buying and flipping properties. And again, okay, Zillow is pretty cool. Now, just overall, a very quick tutorial on how I use Zillow to look at properties is basically this, okay, guys? Now, whenever I go to Zillow, the first thing is basically you want to type in exactly the neighborhood or the city you actually want to buy a property in. In my case, I'm looking at Fort Myers because basically I'm going to move to Fort Myers next year. So I click Fort Myers, Florida, boom. Now it's showing me around 2,139 results. So basically a ton of properties, a lot more than I actually want to look. So what do I do here? Okay, well, the answer is I want to go to for sale and click the little arrow down here and put, for example, hey, I don't want to look at foreclosure homes. So just like cross off all this stuff. Auctions, don't want to look at it. And I click, for example, done. Also, accepting offers are pretty cool if you want to, but then you want to go to price, okay? I don't want to pay over $350,000 because basically I don't want to spend a ton of money on a single family home. So now we went from 2,000 all the way down to 1,400. Then I want to click, for example, hey, I want to look at 3 bedrooms and 2 bath houses, okay? Now we went down to a lot fewer houses. Then I want to click more right here and tell me, for example, hey, I don't want a house with an HOA fee, not interested. On top of that, it has to be bigger than 1,000 square feet. the lot has to be over 7,500 square feet. On top of that, it cannot be on Zillow for more than 90 days because basically I want to look at recent houses, not houses been on market for over 6 months or 12 months, usually bad signs, okay? So maybe overpriced and so on and so on. So now I click done, and now I'm looking at a lot less than 2,000 properties, obviously, right? Maybe like around 50 or 100 here. Probably a lot less, obviously, right? Now, I usually just zoom in, look at properties in my area. So basically, this house I looked at before. I click it, I see exactly what it's going for, 289, but worth 284 according to Zillow. Now, by the way, a Zillow estimate is just an estimate. It does not mean that house is actually worth that much. It might be worth more, or for example, a lot less. It's all dependent on the Zillow algorithm, just like the YouTube algorithm and so on, okay? So usually, you want to do your own independent research to find exactly what this house should actually be worth. Now, in reality, this house has a few things actually going for it, okay? Now, by the way, it's painted purple. Not a good thing. On top of that, it also has some carpet that you actually want to replace. On top of that, it also has a pool. Pretty cool, right? The pool, very well maintained, but that's not something I actually want in a house. So if I buy this house, I might just close on the pool. I just don't like pools, honestly. This is a crazy expense, okay? But obviously, this house right here was built. If you click, for example, facts and features, it tells you exactly when it was built, all the details about it, and everything you need to know. So basically, this house was built back in 2000. On top of that, the home value right here is actually worth depending on this area. Also, price and taxes, but it also gives me a history of the price, if it's been renting, what it got bought for, and also what it's selling for today. So in this case, okay, guys, this house, when you look at it, and you click, for example, see complete price history, it shows you that basically it was sold for initially back in 2011 for around it was sold for 90K back in 2011, okay? And ever since then, this property has been used as a rental property. Basically, you can tell because, hey, it's been listed for rent over and over and over again. And now they want to sell it for 289. Obviously, a massive profit on the person that actually bought it for 90K and put in all the renovation that actually needed, okay? But in this case, it gives you a full history of this property. So basically, I know for a fact, hey, the person selling this is an investor. That way I know, hey, maybe they might be willing to actually basically take a lower offer because basically they might need some cash or maybe something else is actually going on. So this gives me a lot more to my research that I'm actually doing. On top of that, whenever looking at a property, guys, you want to go ahead and click, for example, hey, remove the boundaries and click draw and draw a little circle around the neighborhood, okay? This way you get a full idea of what houses in this area have actually sold for in the past, okay? That's the cool thing here. So go to for sale and go to for sold, okay? This way it tells you exactly what houses in this area have actually sold for. So in this case, we have a house sold for 280 in the same neighborhood. So pretty good here, but obviously this house is a whole different game. Obviously a much better kitchen, fully updated, very nice. So this is basically leverage. Hey, a house sold for in this area for around the same price, but obviously it was updated, a lot better taken care of. So why would I pay you $289 when this house sold for basically $280? Okay, this gives me a lot more leverage. Also, this house sold for $335. They might say, hey, a house sold on the block for $335, but basically this house right here was definitely in new construction. You can tell because basically the new constructions and the way they're building houses, instantly once you know about them, you can tell basically when it's new construction. But you can always click, for example, on here where it says facts about the home, and it'll tell you basically when it was actually built and so on. Well, right here, it'll tell me basically when it was actually built. It'll tell me that basically it was built back in 1988. So not a new construction, but basically you can tell that it's fully remodeled, okay? This house right here was fully remodeled. You can obviously tell, look at the doors, the bathroom, the updated kitchen, and so on. The appliances are a bit old, the furniture too, but that's different. But the house was basically updated, and they put some big money into this property to actually update it. But overall, when I look at properties on Zillow, what I'm looking for is basically a property within my budget. That way, I'm not looking at everything out there. Also, basically, what it's sold for in the past. That one, for example, hey, is it held by an investor or basically just a person that might want to go ahead and buy a new home, whatever it is, okay? And then I use properties in the area and what this sold for to basically get an idea of what this property is basically worth based on square footage and what it's actually selling for, okay? That's the whole concept. Now, that's why I love Zillow. It makes things a lot more easier to actually look at. It's very simple to actually understand. Now, if you want to use, for example, Redfin, again, guys, okay, it's basically the same thing. Redfin, Zillow, same thing. People say, Tommy, that's not true. Redfin's a lot better. You get a lot more properties and so on. But in reality, I think it's pretty much the same thing. Although Redfin is pretty cool also, okay? So basically, I would go to Redfin, put my area, my filters, my prices, and this way I know exactly the houses I'm actually looking at. Now, obviously, some houses you find on Zillow, you might not find on Redfin because basically, if you want to sell with Redfin, usually they are also a broker, so you might charge you that 1%, and some sellers might not want that. So that's why usually I also have Zillow, also Redfin, to look at a lot of different houses. On top of that, if you want to look at Realtor.com, the cool thing about Realtor.com, honestly, is that basically when you click, for example, hey, Fort Myers, right? You click search. The area I'm looking at, as you guys know, is San Carlos Park, right? So it's all the way down here, okay? San Carlos Park, right? But it also tells me, for example, hey, if I want to look at basically the schools in the area, it shows me, okay? On top of that, crime in the area, it shows me. So crime, very low crime in this area, which is actually pretty awesome. Also, noise in this area, it shows me. Hey, is it loud in this neighborhood? It shows me. Pretty cool. Also, flooding in this area, it also shows me. Is it going to be flooding where I actually live? Good? No, obviously I don't want flooding where I actually live. Also transit, so basically tells me exactly the routes I can actually take to actually transport myself and so on. But basically all these websites, for example, Zillow, Redfin, and also realtors, they all have the little cool perks here and so on. But the honest truth is basically you want to use all of them to get a good concept of what's actually in the market. And you want to click update me whenever you find a property in my area. That way, you're always on the lookout for properties in your area. Now, obviously for me, guys, okay, right now, I'm in the market for renting, but I love looking at properties, and that's why I use these tools to actually go ahead and look at properties. So again, don't pick like favorites. Just go ahead and say, for example, hey, I'll look at Zillow, Redfin, and Realtor. That way, I get the full market. Now, on top of that, guys, okay, those are tools just to go ahead and look at properties. Obviously, the most important thing, because if you don't look at properties, how are you supposed to go ahead and buy a property? Obviously, right? But on top of that, guys, there are also a few other tools and apps out there. For example, if you want to buy homes that are actually going for auction, you can go to auctions.com and look at properties in that area that are actually going for auction. So obviously, Fort Myers, in Florida. Now, by the way, auctions are very complicated because basically, if you buy an auction property, usually sometimes you might not even be allowed to actually look at the property or inspect the property, and you might have to pay fully in cash. And on top of that, guess what, okay? The property might have tax liens on it, so you might be basically responsible for everything wrong with this property, okay? So be very, very careful. But the pro is that, hey, if you look at auctions, you're buying properties for a massive discount in that area. But obviously, there are cons and pros to this entire method. So you want to understand exactly what you're actually doing. On top of that, you have bigger pockets. Also an app. This app basically helps you a ton when it comes to understanding real estate and also educating yourself on real estate. And by the way, guys, okay, although I am showing you the websites, they also have apps. But obviously, to show you an app on my phone is going to be a lot more complicated because basically you're probably watching this video with a phone. So that's why I'm showing you guys the websites. Now, on top of that, if you want to get into real estate investing, most likely you want to use this app right here, which is basically Rental Meter, which basically tells you exactly, hey, what are properties in this area actually renting for? So for example, if I go back to Zillow and click one of the houses I'm actually looking at, for example, my saved homes right here, this house right here, right? So let's click this house, use this address, and put it into Rental Meter right here. And it'll tell me exactly what it's actually selling for, okay? Let's say, for example, hey, 3 bedrooms, 2 any baths or whatever. Click Analyze Address, and right here it tells me, hey, these houses in this area rent for around $1,800, $1,700, and at the low at around $1,500, okay? That's the whole idea. So it basically tells me exactly, hey, what's a good price to go ahead and rent this for? But obviously, it costs money. And obviously, if you want to, you can just use Zillow, Redfin, and also just history on this property to look at exactly what they actually rent for. You don't need to use this tool if you don't want to, but it's obviously pretty cool if you just want to go ahead and get some really quick estimates on what this property actually rents for in your area. That's the whole concept right there. But overall, guys, that's basically what I do and apps I basically use when it comes to looking at real estate investing. And on top of that, I also use an app called US Mortgage Calculator. That way I know for a fact, hey, how much would it cost me to buy this home? And also, how long would it take me to pay this off if basically I use my rent that I actually get from this property to basically put it back into the property and pay it off a lot faster. So basically, guys, those are the tools I use and recommend when it comes to looking at properties out there when it comes to real estate. But obviously, there's a lot more out there. Comment down below if you know any more. Comment down below. I'll see you guys next time. Thanks for watching. And as always, if you like this video right here, guys, well, like this video on top of that. Also, subscribe, hit the bell so you're notified. And if you want to text me or talk to me one-on-one, join my Patreon link down below or send me a DM on Instagram at Tommy Bryson. And before I go, if you want to watch a full video on how to save money up for a down payment on a property, here's that video right here. And click my face right now. And see you guys tomorrow. Thanks for watching. And as always, peace.